Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Dayna and this is Delighted to DIY. With four 7-inch cork trivets from the Dollar Tree, we're going to give them each 2 coats of paint. One in Fusion Mineral Paint in the color Aubusin. The blue is Fusion Mineral Paint in the shade Champness. The green is Fusion Mineral Paint in the shade Brook. And the coral color is Art Minds Chalk in the shade Dusty Coral. With a scrap piece of pressure-treated wood about 26 inches long, I gave it 2 rough coats of my homemade chalk paint. After this was letting it dry in between. After this was done, I made a decal in Cricut Design Space and applied it using transfer tape. This time I used vinyl from Dollar Tree. I'm not a huge fan. It doesn't stick the best, but as you'll see, we're gonna give it a coat of decoupage shortly, so that will help it adhere. And the transfer tape I used was the Aura tape. I got mine from craftersvinylsupply.ca. Today's video is part of an open playlist hosted by Antoinette at Simple Yet Chic. I will have her channel linked in my description box below. She's an awesome fellow Canadian YouTuber who makes great farmhouse and budget and DIYs, Dollar Tree DIYs. Antoinette asked us to craft our stash to make DIY summer indoor-outdoor decor, so that's what I'm showing you today. I then also dry brushed over it. I felt the black was too harsh or vibrant. It didn't feel like it fit well. So the dry brushing, I think, kind of helped it blend in, make it more seem part of the sign. I did this and I also gave it a light sanding. I cut out the word pool in white vinyl. This was Oracle 651, their permanent vinyl, and applied 1 letter to each of the 4 trivets. I then gave all pieces a good coat of Mod Podge. A tip I found that seemed to work really well on this project and the next was dipping the brush into some water and then coating decoupage on the brush, then brushing it on. This kind of watered it down, but it also seemed to really smooth it on well. So again, giving all pieces, front, sides, back, a coat of decoupage. This is Deco Art's matte decoupage. After they were dry, I used a skewer stick to poke holes into the tops because the pool letters are gonna hang from the wooden part of the sign where it says welcome to our. Here I'm just measuring out roughly where the holes in the sign need to be drilled and taking my cordless drill, my Mastercraft drill. I just used a 332-inch bit and drilled holes in the sign. Also, if you're going to do this inside, put a piece of scrap wood underneath so that you're not going into your table or anything that you're working on. With some floral wire, I believe it was, from Dollarama. I took 3 pieces and twisted them together. The only reason I did this was because I didn't have some thicker wire on hand, and I felt that it looked better thicker. I did do it with a single strand and the 3 strands, and 3 strands looked much better. I then put these through the holes, one of the sign and one of the trivet, then coiled them, as you see, kind of under my finger to hold them in place. I did 2 for each trivet. So here again, I'm just winding, showing you how I cut 3 pieces the same length. I think they were roughly about 7 inches, twisted them together, then weaved it from front to back of both pieces, so that way it would hold in the back and that it wouldn't be seen in the front. You'll do this for all 4 letters. The last step in this DIY is to add the hanger to the top. I did this by taking my pencil and marking 1.5 inches in from the edge. I then used my drill to start the holes for the eye screws and tighten them in with my fingers. I then took a chain off one of the hanging baskets from Dollar Tree and took it apart. I used the little clips to clip on two of them from each eye hook. And then using a piece of floral wire, I just connected the two in the center, as you will see me do in a few seconds. And that was it. For DIY number one, you now have a fun, colorful sign to display by your pool. If you don't have a pool, then by all means, it could easily be changed to say whatever you like. One more trivet and you could have patio. You would probably want to make the board a little longer and adjust your wording for the welcome to our to adjust to the size of however many letters you're going to put, but it's very easily customizable, and I hope you enjoyed it. You'll have to let me know what you think down in the comments below. For this DIY, you're going to take a metal cookie tray or metal serving tray. This one was a Christmas one. You can usually find bunches of them for cheap at the thrift store, and give it 2 coats of chalk paint. I just used my homemade chalk paint. Then once that was dry, I put a good coat of the Decor Arts matte decoupage on and slowly pressed, not rubbed, pressed the napkin into place, working mainly from the center of the tray outward, as you could see here. When I did start rubbing, which you'll see shortly, it did create some holes. So as I say, just do kind of a patting motion very lightly to get it to adhere, and try to avoid rubbing at all costs. So I adhered it to all parts along the bottom, up the sides, and on the top. As you see here, I made a rip. Then I made it worse by trying to push it together. No need to worry. Here I just took some off of the side and tried to match it up somewhat, laid down some decoupage and put a piece back on. Then I just used my brush to tap again, not rub, the new piece into place to cover up the hole that I had created from rubbing. Then I just tore off the excess. As the more that was on there, the more you could tell it wasn't the original. You could kind of tell it was darker in spots where I had to fix it. After this was all in place, I did the same thing where I used a dip of water, then into the decoupage, then covered it. Once this was dry, I took the sanding block from Dollar Tree and just sanded off the edges that weren't needed in a downwards motion along the edge. Now to cover the sides where the napkin couldn't cover, I just took another piece of napkin and again patted lightly once I put down a layer of decoupage. I just cut off what wasn't needed, then did the same thing on the other side, adding a layer of decoupage on the side, the rim, whatnot, and pressed it down. Once this was dry, I gave the whole thing another coat of decoupage on top to seal it in using the water decoupage mixture step type thing. Sorry, not sure what to call it there. Anyways, eventually I'll figure out how to speak a little better. The next step was to drill some holes into the sides for handles. I used my Mastercraft cordless drill and the 532 drill bit. I put 2 holes and then, as best as possible, eyed it and kind of measured across, straight across, and did the same thing. But I did measure in between the 2 holes on the first side so that they would be the same distance apart on the opposite side. So to make the wire thicker, same as in the first project, I just twisted together 3 pieces of the floral wire from Dollarama. I also used my wire cutters from Dollarama. I tied this on through the hole and around and then twisted it together. Then with beads from Amazon, gotta love these beads from Amazon, I took the second largest, I believe it was, size and thought that it would make a nice handle. So it took about 10 beads to make a handle the size I was looking for that was comfortable for my hand to fit in. I just thread them on, easy peasy. Then once they were all on, I put the wire back through the hole from the top, brought it around from the bottom back up and twisted it around itself. I hope this makes sense. I know it's a little kind of confusing, but yeah, here I am putting it down through the bottom, or well, from the top through down to the bottom. Then I bring it up and then wrap it around itself. I'm not 100% sure how strong these will be. I want to say fairly sturdy to hold things, but maybe in time the wire would start to loosen. If you have any better ideas on ways to strengthen this hold, if you want to actually make it a purposeful tray, serving tray for your patio, let me know. But as far as I know, I think it'll hold, but I would just keep it on it if you are going to use it for the purpose of a serving tray. Off camera, I got this free SVG for personal use design from KaluyaDesigns.com, probably butchering the name. But I adhered this on and that was it. After coating it one last time to help it adhere and to seal in the decal with the decoupage, that was it. You have a nice colorful serving tray for your summertime drinks and for out on the patio. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more, I would love it if you consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.